Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Dose. Today is Wednesday, August 24th. Just going to start out by saying we got a huge announcement from President Biden today saying that he's going to cancel $10,000 of student loan debt for people who have student loans that make under $125,000 a year, and he's going to cancel $20,000 of student debt for people who also make under $125,000 a year but who qualified for a Pell Grant. So the markets didn't really react to that at all, but I think a lot of people see it as an inflationary concern that this could contribute to inflation. I think it's a little bit too early to tell. But obviously it's too early to tell. He just announced it today, but it is too early to know like what the effect will be inflationary wise on the economy. Obviously it's going to help a lot of people out who need it. The price of education had just soared beyond what it was relative inflationary wise relative to what it used to be in prior years. I believe it was up like 7,000% over the last 50 years or something like that, and it outpaced inflation obviously by a lot. It outpaced wages by a lot, so it really put a lot of people in trouble, a lot of people in debt. But yeah, we'll have to see how that will affect the inflationary environment. Markets were up today a little bit. The title of this article is that investors are awaiting clarity from the Fed. I don't really know how much more clarity they need from the Fed. The Fed said that they're not even close to being done fighting inflation. That's true. If they want to get it back down to 2%, that's going to take a long time of rate hiking and tightening of the economy. I don't believe we're anywhere close to seeing that, and I think the markets have not priced in how long and how hard that's going to be. So the S&P 500 was up almost 0.3%. The NASDAQ was up 0.41. The Dow Jones was up 0.18. Nothing really to talk about there. Year to date, the indices, the NASDAQ's down 20%. The S&P 500 is down 13%. The Dow Jones is down 9%. So technically, NASDAQ is not in a bear market, even though it went down 20%, or it's down 20% year to date, because from this bottom to this peak, it was up over 20%, so that's a new bull market. So it technically has to go down 20% from this spot to be in like a technical bear market. But if you just look from the beginning of the year to where we're at now, yeah, the NASDAQ's in a bear market. So let's take a look at the charts. S&P 500, we're still sitting in this range that we have mapped out. Yesterday, we rejected the top level and then kind of came down today. We rejected the bottom and then rejected the top. So we're kind of just sitting in here. It makes sense if we're waiting the Fed to clarify what they're going to do with rate hikes, that when they're waiting for new data, that we'll sit in this range and then break one way or the other. In my opinion, we're going to break lower because we've rejected this 200-day moving average. We've broken this uptrend that we had from the lows in June. I think at the very, very least, we'll come down to this level. We'll probably revisit these June lows at some point. Maybe we'll break lower, maybe we won't. But I think the very, very minimum is we have to come back down to this level, I think, to the 4,000. So that's what I'm looking at right now in the S&P 500. For Bitcoin, we're still kind of sitting in this range too. It broke back into this little zone that we had. It rejected the bottom of that zone several times, and now it's kind of sitting in the top end of that zone. Obviously, Bitcoin's in a more dire situation than the S&P 500. Bitcoin needs to hold this with whatever it has left, this bottom zone, or we're headed much, much, much lower. But other than that, that's all I have for you today. I like to keep these short. Be sure to stay tuned the rest of the week. I'm sure it's going to be a interesting conclusion of the week. So I would stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for listening.